Gonna set it free, let things be. Let the spirit thrill me. I'm in the flow, now I know I'm free, oh blessed be. Gonna set it free, let things be. Let the spirit thrill me, oh I know I'm in the flow. Finally free, oh blessed be. Life unfolds with grace and ease, endless possibilities, and they are where they've always been. We just gotta open up and let love in. Gotta set it free, let things be. Let the thrill of life carry me. I'm in the flow. Now I know I'm finally free. Oh, blessed be. That's my favorite line. I've given up my outgrown dreams, the way they always limit me, made new space to let love in. Now's the time for magic in my life to begin again. Oh, I got all those words right, yay. Gonna let it be, set it all free, let the thrill of life carry me. Now I know I'm in the flow. Blessed be, it's finally known, I'm finally free. Oh, blessed be, oh, blessed be. Gonna set it free, let things be. Let the thrill of life carry me. I know I'm in the flow, and I know I'm truly finally ready to be free. Oh, blessed be, oh, blessed be, oh, blessed be.
Now we're going back to what we started, except nobody put any in the box. Uh-oh. But I know there are some grateful hearts. I heard one yesterday. Our workshop really was an amazing experience. I thought I was coming just to serve, and I got stuff out of it as well. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. We just had a wonderful time. Anybody have something to shout out that they're... Let's hear it, Mickey.
That's great.
That's how it happens.
That's true.
How it happens for all of us. Anybody else want to throw something out there? Okay, well, don't forget to... Oh, Sharon Wood, can I come to you with the microphone? Because you are so soft-spoken.
I want to express my thanks for my 2 children that are outstanding, and I love them very much. And my husband, David.
Lucky lady, lucky David, too. Okay. Well, I guess with that. Oh, yes.
Being here, I'm from California, the Heart and Soul Center for Spiritualism, and I came early and had a wonderful time with the church that was here beforehand. But I also want to say thank you to Karen.
Oh, God,
sitting here
I haven't met you yet.
music.
Thank
My
you.
grandmother raised me, and I really wanted to see
Oh,
how
thank you so
grateful
much.
I am
Thank you
to
very
be in your
much.
company and hearing that while I was waiting for service.
Thank you very much.
Thank. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Okay, with that, don't forget the slips out there. I'll be looking for a whole stack for next week. Just absolutely recognizing how incredibly blessed we are to be here in this beautiful community. For the love, for the sharing that happens here, for the compassion between each and every one of us as we share who we are, our hopes, our fears, our griefs. It's such a blessed place to be. And I know as we come together today that we are all fed spiritually and heart-wise. I know that we are all absolutely imbued with that spirit that I call God at the center of each and every one of us. And as we're here together today, we share a piece of that with each other, with those deep hugs that we learned. And today, I know as we move forward in this service, we are so incredibly blessed to have Rev Jenn come share some more of her brilliance with us. It's so good to have her back today. We are so very blessed. And for everyone who makes this service happen, for every being that puts their heart and soul into New Dawn, from our hospitality team, our beautiful practitioners, Travis keeping us up and online, for Karen's absolutely beautiful music, and for our leadership team that steers the ship and keeps us afloat. We are just so incredibly blessed to have each and every being here today. And as we move forward through this service, I know that the inspiring message that Rev Jenn speaks will land on our hearts and give us just what we need during this holiday period. So in deep gratitude and never-ending thanksgiving, I just release this prayer into that law, knowing it is already done. And together we affirm.
So it is.
So it is. I cheated today. We got 4 quotes again, but they're short ones. There is a force in the universe which, if we permit it, will flow through us and produce miraculous results. From Gandhi. Deepak Chopra shares, the present moment is a conspiracy of the total universe. To resist it is to resist the universe. Let go and flow.
Oh.
Going with the flow is responding to cues from the universe. When you go with the flow, you're surfing the life force. It's about wakeful trust and total collaboration with what's showing up for you. by Danielle Laporte. And this morning I was doing what any one of us would do if we really want to get enlightened. I was scrolling Facebook. And this one came up, and I had to handwrite it on my list to share. Most humans are never fully present in the now, because unconsciously they believe that the next moment must be more important than this one. But then you miss your whole life, which is never not now. From Eckhart Tolle.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here this afternoon. I have missed you. Not every single day, but no. It's interesting when you're away from a group of people that you've been so close to for so long, and the personalities show up at different times in perfection. And it's just been beautiful, and I'm just so grateful to be here in the month of December and to just be able to spend a little time with you. So thank you again. Whoop, didn't want to look at that. Okay. So there is a story. It's not a story. I think it was a song from my childhood. And it was about two men. One of them was a really smart man, and one of them was kind of stupid. And the song went like this. There was a wise man who built his house upon a rock. And the rains came down, and the house stood grounded and solid. And I've got it out of order, and I don't care. Just stay with me for the message. And there was a foolish man who built his house upon the sand. And the rains came down and washed the house away. That was a pretty little kid singing this song. And what I didn't know, and no one ever told me, is that song is a metaphysical song. It wasn't about a dude going out there and building his house in a sandy lot. And it wasn't about a gentleman going out there and building his house on a rock. Because the rock demonstrated faith, connection to the divine, that empowerment that we have when we allow the divine to work through us. And the sand represented doubt, fear, resistance, disgruntledness. The list goes on and on and on. And so as I was looking at this talk title this week, Flowing Ground, that song kept popping up. And it took me a while for finally some of the message to get, because I kept thinking, what was that thing about? Anyway, so here's the thing that we want to look at today. We often think about the ground that we walk on as solid. Feels pretty solid, right? Thank goodness that didn't. I should know better. This is an old building. Anyway, we are standing on solid ground, but we're not. The earth is constantly moving. We can learn to flow with liquid law and not be stopped by appearances of solidity. In other words, there are no brick walls in your way. There is nothing coming up that is so solid, so rigid, that is an obstacle that we can't move through it or past it. Something to consider. So this takes a shift for each of us in our consciousness and how we ground ourselves in the truth principles. I noticed that we use the term getting grounded a lot. I used this not too long ago, and somebody said, "Can you tell me what that means?" And I always thought of it as getting myself grounded to the earth. That's moving, which I didn't think about at the time, so I'm like going, okay, no, what we're doing is we are grounding ourselves in that energy that holds us solid, that allows us to take every step with conviction and purpose. That's what it's all about. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, gives us this quote. In dealing with the subtle power of mind and spirit, we are dealing with a fluent force. It is forever taking form and forever deserting the form which it has taken. If that doesn't depict constant change, my friends, I don't know what does. So think about this for a second. A gymnast goes out and performs. I have a bonus grandchild. She's amazing. She's 13. And for the majority of her life, she has been a gymnast. Phenomenal gymnast. Now she's a cheerleader. She wanted to do something different. I get it. Anyway, you watch a gymnast and they tumble and they spin and they jump and they twirl and they do all these things. And their performance is graded, right? They're usually competing and there's someone paying attention and they're putting little tick marks on what they're performing. But the thing that is critically important to that gymnast is the landing. And so I wanted to bring that little analogy to you today, because how are you landing? When you are realizing that the ground you're on is moving and things are changing rapidly, how are you preparing to land? What's going on for you? And what are you going to bring to that place, to that moment when you can throw your arms up and go, yes, I did it. I want us to look at that this week. I want us to think about that. Because especially now, we're at that time of the year where everything that was already crazy got a whole lot crazier. And some of us are really struggling with this. So another quote that I have for you from Ernest Holmes says, "Let your thought dwell not on breath nor lack of breath, but on that which breathes." Oh, sense the freedom of this God life flowing in you and through you. Do you know why the world looks like it does today? The world looks like it does today because this is the demonstration that we were praying for 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Our consciousness brought us to this place. We really don't have anyone to blame. I'm sorry to tell you. We brought ourselves here. We created this. And part of it, in my opinion, is we have focused on the wrong things to pray about. We were praying on breath or lack of breath instead of praying in connection with that which breathes. Do you see the difference? I just got chills with that. There's a significant difference there. I stopped praying for the things I want. I started praying for the experience that I am as the things come forward. Because what I've discovered this year, which is crazy that I just discovered this year, I think I kind of knew it before, but I really got it solid this year because God has been so good to show me everything up close and personal this year. But I think what happened was I was praying for specific things. I was praying for specific outcomes. And as soon as I realized that all I needed to pray for is how I'm showing up, how I'm landing, it changed everything. Everything. So geologists and quantum physicists will tell you right now today, that the ground we stand on is not as solid as we'd like to think. Now, those of us who live here in Colorado, we can pretend it is, because we don't feel it move very often. But in 1989, I was living in Vancouver, Washington with my 2 sons and our 3 cats, and I was working in Portland, Oregon. And on October 17th, at approximately 5:04 p.m., the La Prieta earthquake hit California. And it happened at a time during a national live broadcast of the World Series. And the people on the highway of the Oakland Bay Bridge and other areas in California discovered that what happens to elevated systems of roadways when the earth starts to move, and they crashed and crumbled. Now, the good news is a lot of lives were not lost. Not a lot, considering the damage that took place. And they believe that was because a lot of people weren't even on the roads because they were all at the World Series game. Heaven help us, thank you, sports. I mean, whatever works. And so one of the things that I learned about when I first moved to that area, a friend was driving me around the Portland area and pointed out this building to me. Now, this was new to me. The malls there at the time were not like our malls here. You know, our malls are kind of spread out, and you walk through this big building for hours and days trying to get from one end to the other. Their malls were kind of built in a single structure, multi-level building, and you walked into this building and you could go to all the different places within the building just on different floors. And an individual pointed out to me the Multnomah Mall. Now, I couldn't find it currently, so I don't know what happened to it since 1989, but there was a building, and I was shown this building, and I kept thinking, a building of that stature near earthquake area, is that a good idea? Well, it was built on a suspension system. So what happened to the Multnomah Mall when the freeways and the roadways and the bridges started collapsing? It danced. And there was no damage. So, what I want to ask you here is, when the earth moves from underneath you, are you willing to dance? Because maybe that's what we should be doing right now. Instead of, oh, this woe is me stuff, and oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening. The world's changing too fast, and it's gone crazy, and I don't even want to see what's coming in January. Stop it. Just dance. Just put a little rhythm into that and see what happens as you dance. Now, what did I do after that earthquake? I moved back to Colorado. Took me 9 months to experience the Portland area and decide, beautiful, gorgeous, don't want to be here. Because this is my home. So I came back. I came back to Colorado, where I believed, and I continue to tell myself, the earth is more solid. One of my favorite people, who I never had a chance to meet, but I've read a lot of his works, is Buckminster Fuller. And he gives us this quote: "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete." Are you fighting it? Resistance is another form of fighting it. I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to look at it. I'm going to pretend it's not going on. Or else we're aggressively pointing a finger at others, whining and crying and complaining. What is happening here? Stop. We had this wonderful thing, and I know a lot of people are getting sick of hearing me talk about it, but we had this wonderful, wonderful blessing, a gift to all of us. Worldwide. That's unusual. In 2020, know where I'm going with this? In 2020, we were gifted a pandemic. We were prompted to make a huge shift in how we see life, how we do church, how we do community, all of it. And a good portion of the population sat in their homes and thought, oh, I just want to get back to normal, I just want to get back to normal, I just want to get back to normal. And as soon as someone made an announcement and said, okay, y'all can get out of your houses now, what did we do? We tried to recreate what we already had before. That's not how we change. That's not how we dance. That's not what we're called to do. We have got to create, recreate, and create again and create new every single time. That's what we're here for. So how do we do this? Oh, it's such a struggle. One of the things is by surrendering, allowing life to show up. Quit trying to force the round peg in the square hole, or vice versa, whichever way that goes. Allow it. Surrender to it. Focus on the possibility. Choose visioning. This year, at my lowest moments, when I was grief-stricken because I didn't know what I was doing or where I was going, I chose surrender, I chose allowing, and I shut up and I sat down. I know, unusual for me. I shut up, I sat down, and I listened. And I lived in that space of allowing God to speak me and speak to me. we can always create better, more of the expression of who we are if we're willing to let go of what we were, even if it was just a minute ago or 5 minutes ago. And we can do this and create a ripple with our love and allow that to touch others. So, as we continue this path we're on, y'all know you're on a path, right? As we continue this path we're on for transformation, we are constantly deepening our consciousness. We're seeing things we didn't see before. I hear a lot of people say, gosh, now that I'm over 60, I see stuff. I don't know that it's that as much as it's just been the time we've been on planet Earth and the things we've learned and we've gleaned from our experience. I don't know that it is attached to an age bracket. That's what I'm trying to say. We're discovering the things that are truly important. We're co-creating our lives. Do you think about that every day, that you are co-creating your life? Principle is not bound by precedent. Principle is that solid, grounded piece of who we are and our philosophy that we can tap into and apply to every single aspect of our life, every breath, every thought, every activity. So let's stop struggling against it. Let's let go of the need to fight. We see enough of that fighting on television. I don't watch it. I know some people do. I hear rumors. Every now and then, a beautiful, dear friend of mine will send me a video clip, and it's like, no. Thank you, but no. We're called to take a step back and take a breath and focus on what breathes us. And you're not necessarily going to find that out there. You're only going to find that in here. Yeah, how beautiful. So I have a quote here that says, to expand your mind is to go inward, to your soul center. Connect with your higher consciousness of self where you are limitless. Did you know you were limitless? Did you know that you can do anything you desire? Did you know that you can express the divine through you in so many multifaceted ways all the time? As long as we don't try to shut it down, put it in a box, put it in the trunk of the car, and just allow it to flow through us. So what happens to us in this place is we get an idea. I don't know about you, it happens to me all the time. I get this creative idea, it's just this amazing creative thing. Oh my gosh, I should do this. And then I don't do it. And then I look back and think, well, I had a good idea about that a while back. What happened to that? And what happens for most of us is we don't understand how we're going to get there. And I ran into this a lot this year. I was going to start a new center in the Tri-Lakes area where I live, down by Palmer Lake. I was going to create a new nonprofit. I was going to do this. I had a piece of paper on my dining room table with a list of all these things that I could do. And I talked myself out of every dang one of them. Now, I didn't talk myself out of it in the same way that I'm expressing this here, because I went within and I asked, is this what I'm to do? But I couldn't see the how too often. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to put together a nonprofit or to create and develop a brand new center and to have board members and all of the components. It was like, oh my gosh, it was boggling my mind. And so what happens to us is we go to look at the how and we can't figure that out and we go, well, I guess I'm not supposed to do that. Well, guess what? You're not responsible for the how. God's the how. God is the how. And what I discovered, along with all of the other things that I've shared with you, visioning is important for us, dancing, especially when we feel like we're being challenged or the very earth feels like it's moving underneath us, to look at this and to do these things. And yes, let's look at this and let's listen. I was a trainer for almost 30 years in corporate America. I trained customer service reps. I trained them the science of mind philosophy, even though I didn't know part of the time that that's what I was doing, because that's who I was. And I used to tell them, you have one mouth and two ears. And I used to think that meant I had to talk twice as much, because I'm a pretty good talker, and I have a lot of good ways to look at stuff, and oh my gosh. And it has taken me a long time to just be quiet and to listen, because perhaps we have two ears so that we can hear more and hear better. So my word for this year has been expansion. It started back in late 2024, 23, probably about this time, fourth quarter, and the word expansion just kept showing up. And as many of you know, I had moved down to the Palmer Lake area, and I thought, oh my gosh, expansion, there's a spiritual center looking for me. And I went down that path, that it was going to be, hundreds of people, and it was going to be a bigger building, and it was going to be this, and it was going to be this. I forgot something. I forgot that I had shared with you, many of you, back in 2020, the direction I was going, and I forgot. Because in 2020, I stood in front of you and I said, we have got to get outside the building, outside the box. We have got to expand. We have got to go out there and reach the people where they live and stop the brick and mortar thing. You might not have been listening, but God was. And so when I started looking at this thing thinking I'm going to have a bigger center, man, it like flatlined on me. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, here's what I know about Spirit. Spirit is incredibly creative. And when we allow ourselves to be guided by that creativity, we are taken to areas of our life that we never imagined. In addition to being an ordained minister and doing all the work that I do as a minister, I have fallen into a ministry of being a part of a community in Palmer Lake, Colorado. I have a part-time job. My title is Code Compliance Officer, which sounds so legit. I have been sworn in by the Board of Trustees, and I can write citations. But here's what I need you to know. My community is 2,800 plus people. Every day, I get in my beautiful little Subaru Forester that says Town of Palmer Lake on the side. Her name is Pearl. I drive Pearl around Palmer Lake. I go to people's homes. I go to people's businesses. I listen. I empathize. And I help co-create solutions. And I am having the time of my life. I'm not preaching to them any more than I'm preaching to you. And if you think I am, I'm not. I am bringing the philosophy that lives within my heart and being of who I am, and I'm sharing that with the people in the community. And guess what? Things are shifting just a little bit. And it is exciting. The town administrator who hired me has told me a couple of times, you don't have an office here. Our expectation is not for you to be sitting in an office. Our expectation is for you to be out and about. Okay. Twist my arm. I love it. And the challenges I deal with are often challenges of conflict. Somebody doesn't like what somebody's neighbor's doing, or what somebody's neighbor's yard looks like, or what somebody's, what. And I'm working with fire, the police department, the roads team, and they're contacting me and say, hey, would you be willing to go reach out to this person because we're not sure what's going on, but this feels like it's probably more in your arena. Yeah, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. Did I get into that place of expansion? I did. Took 4 years for me to get outside the building and realize that I could sit in a little Subaru Forester and I could take ministry wherever I need to. And people are telling me they're grateful I'm there, and they're grateful I listen. How difficult is that? Truthfully, it's very simple. It's very simple for all of us to do this, for all of us to do this. So Maslow gives us this quote as I close today. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. Are you going forward? Are you going backward? Both are directions. Both are directions. Both impact your life greatly, greatly. The conditions of our lives today are calling forth something new, better, and greater. Our personal conditions within our lives, and as well as the conditions of the world, are guiding us all to a new and greater expression. Are you saying the same thing over and over again, or are you trying something new each time? Are you willing to shift? Are you willing to step into the change? Are you willing to dance, if that's what's necessary? We are part of an evolutionary process. We are an integral function of the universe. Our choices create our reality. And they don't just create your individual reality. They're creating the individuality of everyone who comes in contact with you. The world is watching, my friends. The world has been waiting. It is time for us to step into the reality of that shift and change that is being called for. So this week I invite you to choose compassionate curiosity over judgment. Somebody's over there acting wonky, screaming, yelling, having a fit. How about you just get curious about it instead of going, what is wrong with him? How about we do that? Let's avoid dwelling on the negative. There is nothing for us to fear in the new year. Nothing. We have called forth exactly where we are right now. And we are going to move forward as a nation and as a planet. And it's going to be an incredibly beautiful thing. How will you ride the energy of flowing ground? How will you choose to show up the rest of today, tomorrow, and the next day? Do you want to grumble? Do you want to complain? You're welcome to do that because you are at choice. I don't believe the outcome will be what you'd like it to be, but that's just my perspective. So this week, my encouragement to each one of you is to perfect your landing. Decide how that's going to be. Decide how that's going to look. Decide how you're going to show up and what you're going to bring to the table. And as we look at this concept of flowing ground, we know that we are fully grounded in the divine and that everything else that comes our way, we can manage it, we can handle it, we can soar through it, soar past it. Yes, and we can even change it if that's what's required. Please pray with me. Breathing into this space right here and right now, we live in this moment. This moment, here now is where we have the power to be all that we choose to be. And in this place of power, we know that the divine power is within each of us, this Godness. This God energy flows through each and every one of us, surrounds us, fills us, guides us, speaks to us, and we are listening. Oh, how beautiful this is. And what I know for each and every one of us is that we come together unified as human beings of the divine. And it is our task, yes, our very responsibility to support ourselves and one another through the shifting and the changing and the movement of the sand and the ground that we walk on, and addressing change in the most positive ways that we can. how beautiful this is, how incredible it is to know this and to know God in everything. And so today I just give thanks. I give thanks for who I am, where I am, and how I am, and I give thanks for God's guidance to me and through me and as me, and I give thanks for this for every single one of us. Regardless of the heartache and the challenge and the heartbreak we've dealt with this year or years past, regardless of missed opportunities and things that just fell through the cracks and we got a little lost for a minute, regardless of all of the negative conditions, we know that we can take our landing into the Spirit and the divine, throwing our arms up in the air and declaring it's all good, it's all perfect, and it is all God. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the opportunity to pray. I'm grateful for the very opportunity to be in the midst of these beautiful people today, in the room and those who observe this talk online, knowing that all are blessed, all are perfect, and all are God expressing. So knowing that we lay the groundwork for the perfect life for each and every one of us, we do so with that faith in God, that grace and that beauty. As we turn this over to the law of mind, where we know it is already done in the mind of God, we simply let it go. We let it be, and together we say, and so it is.
Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have everything inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know you will be safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, step into the mystery. You don't need a plan, your heart will be your compass. Set your sails with faith and know you will Let go the shore.